doing today, YouTube? D-Ski from D-Ski Grills back with another cooking video. And today we'll be making St. Louis spare ribs on the Weber Summit Charcoal Grill. What we have today is also a product review. What I bought today was two different products from a company called Kosmos Q. So one of the products is their rub. It is called the Honey Killer Bee Dry Rub. We'll be using this rub on these St. Louis style ribs. At the end, towards the end of the cook, when it's time to glaze them and sauce them, we'll be trying another product from Kosmos Q, and it is called Apple Habanero Rib Glaze. I'm looking really forward to giving both of these a shot. Again, I told you in the past when I did my rub video on how I try to give a shot to a lot of these different rubs just so I can continue to upgrade my flavor profile when I'm cooking. So this is one of them that got awesome reviews on Amazon. So I bought these from Amazon. We're gonna do what we always do. We're gonna take it down to the cutting board. We're gonna prep these ribs, get this rub on them, let it sit overnight. So I'll say 10 to 12 hours, and then we'll start up the grill and get them going. Towards the last 30 minutes, we'll start with this rib glaze, Apple Habanero Rib Glaze from Kosmos Q. And at the end, we'll take it to the cutting board, cut them, take a bite, see what it's all about. I'll let you know my thoughts on them if it's something that you should go out and run and go get. So I'm looking forward to doing this cook as always, and let's get cooking. Okay, YouTube, let's trim and prep the ribs. So what I'm doing now is grabbing that thick membrane off the back of the ribs. So I usually just get it started, then I grab it with my hand and pull it off. Now a lot of people use a paper towel, but I don't. I do it this way. I get a good foothold on it, and once I pull it, I pretty much get the whole thing. As you can see, I'm also trimming off the additional meat from the bottom of them as well. So the idea for me is to get the membrane off, pull off the additional meat, and then cut them and square them up. Because as we're cooking, we're going to go through a wrap process. I don't want any jagged edges. I want it as clean and trim as possible. So that's what we're doing right there. Now, next step after this, we will start the seasoning process. So I'll show you that next. But this is what I do when I get my ribs. So there's our cutting, just trying to square them up. These 3 slabs of St. Louis style ribs are going to be awesome. So thanks for hanging in. Let's check out the next step right after this. Alright, YouTube, time to season the ribs. So what we're using again is mustard as a binder, and then the Honey Killer Bee by Kosmos Q's dry rub. As we go through this, you'll see that it just starts getting dark. I'm not sure what happened, but I wanted to make sure to show you this process. So now we're doing the other side. Mustard as a binder, and then back with the Kosmos Q dry rub. So that's what we'll do for all 3 slabs of ribs. In the next take, you'll be able to see how well I season these. I put a lot of rub on them. They're going to sit in the refrigerator for a minimum of 10 hours, and then we'll get back tomorrow morning. So let me show you this. Okay, YouTube, time to wrap. As you can see, we have our lighting back correct. Again, that was just a showing of the Kosmos Q dry rub. So all we're going to do now, everything is seasoned. Again, we use the mustard, we use the rub. Now we're going to wrap it in the saran wrap, and from there, the ribs will go into the refrigerator for, like I said, a minimum of 10 hours. So what I'm going to do after that is go outside, and since we're going to start these ribs early tomorrow morning, we're going to head outside today and go ahead and get our grill prepped with the smoke wood and charcoal that we're going to use for tomorrow morning's cook. So that's it. Wrap it good. I try to get it pretty good and tight, and then we'll just put it in the refrigerator. So I'll see you outside for the grill prep. Okay, so real quick, here's our grill setup. So what we have is 4 pieces of cherry wood. I filled up the hopper or the bottom of the grill with Kingsford charcoal. So those are the 4 chunks of cherry wood. And then we're just going to use a fire cube starter. So I want to get all that in place, so tomorrow all I have to do is light the fire cube. Alright, so the ribs will take care of themselves tonight. I'll get some good sleep, and we'll catch up in the morning. Good morning, YouTube. It is day 2 of our rib cook, and I wanted to get started early, so you can see there's still darkness all out here. It's about 5:30 in the morning. I'm going to go ahead and get this fire started, and then we'll go in and check these ribs out and how they looked. Do you remember what we did yesterday? We seasoned them with the Kosmos Q Killer Honeybee barbecue rub.
We also, of course, used mustard as a binder. The ribs have been in the refrigerator roughly now about 10 hours. So let's go inside the house and check it out and see how this glaze, how this rub did for the evening. Now, this fire shouldn't take any more than about maybe 30, 40 minutes to get where I want it. We are shooting for a temperature of 225 to 250 degrees for this cook. So we'll let this ash over and do its thing. And then, like I said, we'll go to the cutting board. Welcome back, YouTube. Day 2 of our St. Louis style rib cook. And what I want to do is get you up to speed on what we did yesterday in preparation for today's cook. So all we did yesterday was we took the membrane off of the ribs. We then trimmed them, cut them up, and got them in a really, really good square type state. And that's the best way to cook ribs because you're going to wrap them later. So you want to square them up so when you either use foil or butcher paper or whatever for your portion where you get them tender, you don't want anything to leak and cut open because of the sharp edges. So we did that as well. And also we used mustard as a binder, and we're trying out 2 new products from Kosmos Q. And I say new, not new, but new to me. So this is the Cosmo Q dry rub. This is the honey killer bee that we used last night. I want a generous portion of killer bee on both sides of these ribs. Again, mustard as the binder. What we're going to do later on in the cook is, again, try out the apple habanero rib glaze. So, want to get you back up to speed. These ribs have been in the refrigerator for about 10 hours, and I'll let you see how they're looking while the grill's getting ready. They are looking really, really good. Now, what they've done, they've truly, truly taken in moisture. These things now, I can see where the rub itself has actually settled into the meat. I'm going to let these ribs get up to temperature, and my plan before putting them on the grill is to hit them one more time with a light coat of the killer honeybee again. Then we'll put them on the grill at 225 to 250 degrees. We'll do the 3-2-1 method. Again, 3-2-1, 3 hours letting it get hit with smoke, 2 hours of wrapping them in either your foil or your butcher paper, and then 1 hour to let them sit back on the grill and kind of firm back up. At that time, I do my glazing. So thanks for joining me. This cook will be done in about 6 hours. So we'll take you down to the cutting board, let you see what we're doing, and get on out there and make these beautiful ribs, okay? As always, let's get cooking.
Okay, YouTube, so here's my low and slow setup. So the coals have already ashed over in the middle. They will reach out and they will touch the wood over the cook. Now I'm adding my diffuser plate, so we put that in place. Next thing, I added 2 foil pans, which I'm going to add water to both of the foil pans. Now the reason behind that is I want to add moisture to the grill during the cook to keep these ribs as tender as possible. So that's what you see. After that, we add the grill grate, and we are set up for low and slow. So now it's time to give you the big thumbs up, and after that we will close the grill and let it get up to temperature.
Okay, YouTube. What we're going to do in the meantime is go ahead and set up our digital thermometer. This is our remote access thermometer that we'll use during this cook. So the ability to not have to stand over your grill is what an item like this offers, okay? So I'm going to have this. Now what we have is our probe. This probe here is going to stay in the grill, so I always know the internal temperature of the grill. Now when cooking ribs, I usually don't use a meat probe, but I use a probe for the grill temperature. So that's what I'm going to do today. Now, this is actually the Ready Check barbecue thermometer. It's a really, really good thermometer, and it's quite accurate, so I like it a lot. The ability to be able to not stand over the grill and still have access to what the temperature is really a good thing when you're doing these long cooks. So the way you get this going is you have a transmitter and you have a receiver. Okay, the transmitter is what stays out here on the grill. The receiver gets the information from here as the grill is cooking, giving you stats on what the temperature is and what's going on with your food. Okay, so here's how you get this thing fired up. You turn on the receiver first. Okay, so let me turn this on. Okay, not sure if you're able to see that, but on the receiver, you have two different functions. One is for food, right here, and one is for barbecue. We'll only be using barbecue, so this is what we're doing. We're going to be monitoring the inside of the grill. So after you turn that on, then you turn on the remote function, or the remote transmitter, so these things can pair up. So I'll put this down. We'll fire this up, and you'll see, and it's just an on-off button in the back. So there's the on-off button here. I'm going to turn this on, and once I turn this on, they will pair up. There it is. Now you see 73 degrees here and 73 degrees here. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and put this transmitter in place on the grill. Turn this around, let you see. And what I do with these, I really like to get them away from the meat, and where they don't get false readings due to that. And I'll usually just stick them somewhere to where they can monitor and be out of the way. So here's my probe. I have it right here, and we can get this thing shut down and back to heating up. All right. So now that's where we're at. Our grill is heating up fast. We have 84 degrees on our transmitter and 84 degrees on our receiver. So just a quick review real fast, I guess, on this digital thermometer while we're waiting for this grill to get up to temp.
Okay, YouTube, let's get cooking. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and bring my rapid fire down. And then we're going to add these awesome ribs to the grill. So you can see the smoke. We're starting to touch some of that cherry wood. And we're going to just move the digital thermometer over a little bit more and then place these 3 slabs of ribs on the grill. So we're at the point now to where the digital thermometer will do its thing. It'll keep me abreast of what's going on. We're shooting for that 225 to 250. So now all we have to do is close the grill up and knock out the first 3 hours. After those 3 hours are done, we'll go to the cutting board, and I'm going to use butcher paper today. So we'll go wrap the ribs in butcher paper after we get done with this first 3 hours. There's a big thumbs up. Okay, YouTube, 3 hours later, it's time to wrap. So all I'm doing is adding honey and butter to each side of the ribs, wrapping them firmly in the butcher paper. And we'll do that for all 3 slabs. There's our honey, then our butter, lay the ribs on flat, honey, butter, wrap again. I'll show you that for the last slab of ribs, and it'll be the exact same thing. Honey, butter, lay the ribs down, honey, butter, and wrap. So next step, we're going back to the grill, and we're going to let them cook for 2 more hours. I'll see you at the grill. Okay, we are back for 2 more hours. So you see the grill is at 200 degrees. We're going to go ahead now and add the wrapped ribs back to the grill. One thing I did in another video was a taste test between foil wrapped and butcher wrapped. Had my wife as the blind taste tester, and she chose the ribs wrapped in butcher paper. If you get a chance, check that video out. I did it about 2 months ago, and it was just a test between butcher versus foil. So again, we're going 2 hours with this right now, and then the next step, I will take this butcher paper off. There's a big thumbs up, and we'll start glazing. Okay, 1 hour to go. Let's glaze them. So look how the ribs are sweating. That butcher paper did its job. So what we're going to do now is just one by one take the ribs out of the butcher paper. So you'll see that, and you can see the moisture. I mean, the butcher paper does an awesome job. These ribs are as tender as they can be already. So that's why I like the last method of the 3-2-1, and that's allowing it to firm up. So now we put it back on the grill, let that heat tighten those ribs back up, and we go ahead and start adding our glaze. So now we're going to add the Kosmos Apple Habanero Rib Glaze. And I'm going generous. So you'll see I'm going to go ahead and put this on and just liberally pour it on there. So all we're going to do now is let that glaze set you see I'm actually just kind of massaging it in with the brush, and then we'll let it set. I'll see you in about an hour. We can see how they look. Okay, they are finally done. So I want you to see the beautiful color. Check out how good these ribs look. So what I'm using is a toothpick. That's a way of testing for tenderness. Now again, these things are ready to fall off the bone, and I'll show you that at the cutting board. But I like to do that just to feel the consistency and make sure things cooked evenly. So all three slabs are ready, and all three slabs are ready to go to the cutting board. So I'll meet you inside at the cutting board. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Okay, YouTube, let's check out the final product. Look at the beautiful mahogany color on these ribs. These ribs came out amazing. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and cut a few of them. You can see the knife just goes through like butter. These St. Louis style ribs, this awesome apple habanero glaze and rub is a winner. So I'm pulling this one out, and I just want you to see the tenderness of these ribs. The 3-2-1 method, there's a beautiful smoke ring. You can't go wrong. So we'll go ahead and start peeling this apart, and you can watch how it comes off the bone. It is definitely one of those food candy type things that just makes you happy. Isn't that great? Now that is what you call tender St. Louis style ribs. Cosmo Q's gets a big thumbs up in my book. This is definitely a rub and glaze that I will buy again. If you like what we're doing, please subscribe to my channel. And as always, at D-Ski Grills, grilling is not a pastime, it's a passion. Enjoy the rest of your day, YouTube. Thanks for joining me.